Hey, Prop Juice community, how's it going today? I've had a few requests over Twitter to do a little overview of some of the baseball stuff that we've added, and we've added quite a bit, so that's what I'm going to do for you guys today. So without further ado, let's take a look at what we got going on. We'll look at NBA and baseball, and happy NFL draft day as well. Lots going on in the sports world today. We got the Braves playing right now. I'm actually going to probably go through some Braves picks if they're still available. Just to kind of show you what I would put in today. I got one that's about to cash, so we'll see how that shakes out. With that in mind, we've got all the games here, so it's dominated by baseball at the top, but we've got a Cleveland game down here. One of the new things that we've done is add trends. So if you click on this trends, it'll give you some trends that you might want to look at. This actually has the Hawks to cover this Knicks game tonight as one of the trends, going against this kind of push of 1.5 spread. So you can kind of evaluate that on its own. Don't have any trends for other games, but if we went over to props and we went to all props, and then we select trends over here, we get rid of Anthony Edwards because I was looking at him earlier. Go to all games. Additional props appear. So you got things like Kuminga under 15.5, okay? And so our projections under 15.5, and this trend says basically when this model says he goes under, he's under 14 out of 20 times, which is 70%. If you want to do more deep dive into that, you click into his card all the way down to the bottom. It'll tell you what's going on. So when the consensus versus the quant line both predict the under, Jonathan Kuminga has hit the under on points and assists 14 out of 20 times. So we've got a 70% hit rate on our AI trend, and we also have a called under on our projection, and we have a 65% chance that he goes under. So we're all around that above 65, 70% chance. So, take it with what it is. Trend, I might take it tonight. We've also added something new over here with news. So you can go to player news. Recent stories mention this player. Nothing really recent. It's 25 days ago, so you don't have to really worry about that. But we're trying to link more directly all the different news to the stories. Haven't done anything down here. An assist. We could try to see if a different player like McCollum, does his points go up if this correlation is basically zero, right? So there's no relationship between what Kuminga does in points and assists and McCollum, so that's uncorrelated. So those are probably two pretty decent bets. We could probably add, let's see, where is NAW here? So that goes down. So basically, if we think Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to go up, and we think Kuminga is going to go down, right? That means we have a negative correlation between those two things. Guess what? We have a negative correlation between those two things. So let's check out Nickeil Alexander-Walker. What we would need to do is we need to go up here. We need to go back to the game. We need to hit the Hawks. We're on points and assists. We're going to hit combos, points and assists. We're going to get rid of Kuminga. Go to this Atlanta game. Okay, we got trends only. Sorry, got to get rid of trends. Sometimes you got too many filters on here and you're like, where's my guy? So Walker. There he is. Rebounds and assists. And we do have, it wasn't rebounds and assists. It was points and assists. So we have him going over 22.5. Now he has not been over the last 3 games. So I might take an alt line at 20. I had been taking him really at points and assists over 20 for a really big stretch. I think I won all these bets in here because I took him every time, and then he didn't get it. And then I tried it again, and he got it. 20, not 23, right? So I took an alt line on him. So what you could do is you could take an alt line, Nickeil Alexander-Walker points and assists on DraftKings for over 20, and then you could add McCollum, because I think he's probably going to go off again tonight for points. And you could add, who were we talking about? We were talking about, let's see Dyson Daniels, and let's see if there's any relationship between his rebounds, his assists and rebounds. No, we still have this. Oh, that's a negative. That's an interesting thing. So given that these are cross and we got a negative, so again, you might want to take McCollum's been on a roll. I think he probably goes over. I don't think the Knicks are going to stop him from going over 18 tonight. But I do think he's had a couple of mediocre games. I think he'll probably come up tonight. So I would maybe put in an alt for 20 and then a CJ, and a CJ over 18. Daniels didn't seem to make it a difference there. What about points and rebounds? Okay, he's negative correlated to McCollum, so you might want to take, Dyson Daniels under perhaps tonight. You might just ignore all these different relationships. But you got a Nickeil Alexander-Walker and a Dyson Daniels. So again, whichever one you might be thinking you're liking the most in terms of an over or an under, look at the opposite. So if you're taking an over on somebody and you want to take an under on a different player, there should be a negative correlation. If you're taking an over on somebody and you want to take an over on another player, there should be another positive correlation. So 2 positives, 2 overs, 2 negatives, 2 unders, positive, negative, over, under. Okay, that's the key. That's the way to think about it. And so what I like to try to do is find a B plus or an A bet and then work off of that. Okay, so let's go to MLB props. And let's look at this Braves game that's ongoing. And unfortunately, we don't have this parlay here, hits, runs, and RBIs yet. Oh, wait, it's in. Okay, let's see what we got here. For the Braves game, maybe we'll still get some. And then what I wanted to do is I wanted to look at Acuna Jr. I wanted to look at Matt Olson, Michael Harris, and I wanted to look at Albies, I believe. Okay. And then I wanted to turn this on to runs scored. And let me make me small here. Put me over here. Albies runs scored. And then let's make this we don't have runs, hits, RBIs in here. That's what we'll add today. It's a bug, so we'll put that in there. But I wanted to put like hits for Olson and Harris, okay? And so what's kind of interesting here is if Harris gets a hit, Albies probably not going to score a run. If Harris gets a hit, Acuna is more likely to score a run. Just based on looking at these 2 correlations. So let's take off Olson real quick. And yeah, okay, and just look at this triad here, right? Do you see this? So there's a positive relationship between Acuna Jr. scoring a run and Michael Harris getting a hit. But there's a negative relationship between Harris getting a hit and Albies getting a run. So you might want to take Harris and Acuna, 2-leg parlay, Acuna for a run, Harris for a hit. So let's take off Albies here and let's put back on Olson. And then let's put on Drake Baldwin. Let's put Baldwin for a home run. All right, so no, maybe we didn't want to do that. Maybe we just want to give him a hit. Let's take him for a home run. Yeah, okay. So Olson and Baldwin together, I couldn't remember what the combo was, but when Olson hits a home run, Drake Baldwin, more than half the time gets a hit. Or vice versa. When Baldwin gets a hit more than half the time, probably more likely, Olson gets a home run, right? And you can look at these trends and analyze them in specifics. But these correlations are giving you hints. It's also telling you, the Acuna Harris still holds, right? And so I'm just like looking at this when I'm trying to put more than 2 3-leg parlays together to make sure that I'm not going to put 4 things on a parlay that are all negatively correlated and they're all overs, right? Because if they're all overs yet they're all negatively correlated, you have a much worse chance of winning that parlay, right? So I like to put either uncorrelated things together or correlated things that make sense, right? And so I just wanted to kind of show this off to you. And if you got any questions about it, hit me up on X or send our admin an email, and we'll take a look at what you have, at what your questions are, and what's going on. In addition, I just wanted to point out we do have multiple models down here. So we got a box edge model now, which is a batter-friendly model. And we've got a PvP line, which is a player versus player. So this is taking into consideration batter pitching matchups as well. Then we just kind of got like a very generalized model here, and the 3 of them give you a consensus. On our B plus bet so far, our PvP line has been dominant. And on our A minus, and B bets, the consensus has been dominant. So just a little tidbit there. Pretty much PvP and consensus are normally agree. And if they do agree, that's good, strong signal to take that particular bet. But I would just, make sure you're looking at both the PvP line on the B plus bets and not just necessarily the consensus. And we're going to try to, constantly, making changes and improving things. So, but I mean, this looks like a pretty safe under, right? For Acuna Jr. He does tend to get on base because he does score runs. So that's kind of interesting when you look at, let's see if we got him scoring a run this game. And they're playing right now, and he may have already scored a run. So, but yeah, see, he scores runs, but doesn't always, get a hit. So he gets walks. So I bet if we looked at his walks, he's probably been on here good bit. I don't have his walks on here, batter walks. Sorry, my bad. So yeah, it's just kind of explore different guys, look at these different trends. So he's, you can't really bet on under doubles, but we make sure we give you a trend if there is a trend. So you might have to ignore these things. We may have somebody, going for a home run, but the trend is counter to intuitive. That's what a red band looks like. If there's a red circle on a trend, that means this trend goes alternative to what the pick is. Yeah, so let's go over those trends. Props, MLBs. So a white circle means that it's a greater than 70% chance. See, 73% chance. A green circle means it's greater than 90% chance. A red circle means it's in opposition to. Okay, and then if we had a yellow circle, see if we can find a yellow circle somewhere. If we get rid of this game, maybe and go to all games, and we get rid of Acuna Jr., and then we look at trends only, and then let's see there, a yellow circle. A yellow circle is 80%. So that's 80%. So just by looking at the circles, you can tell that's 70% trend, that's an 80% trend, that's a 90% trend, right? Just by looking at the circles. And then you can compare it to the actual pick of the card, okay? One thing I like to do is I like to sort by grade, I like to sort by the trends. So we can go to trends, or actually I like to say, let's go with A's all the way down to, let's say B's, okay? And then see if there's any grades that overlap with trends. There's not today. Sometimes there are. If there's a really high grade overlapping with the trend, I will usually take that, right? So our options today are to go with these B+ grades and check out whether or not, we think trends support them down here, and whether or not PVP line is positively disposed. We're adding this particular prop right now, so that's probably why it's not coming in. Let's just go to hits. Wow, we don't have a lot of hit grades today, do we? Let's go to C's. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we don't have a lot of A's and B's hits, so it's just an interesting day today. I woke up and saw the A's and B's, and they were very few and far between today. So maybe a day to kind of lay off a little bit in terms of MLB baseball. But we do have some C grades with some trends, so you can check those out. Here's Alex Thomas for the D-backs. He's on a pretty good streak, I've noticed lately. So yeah, he's got 4 in a row. He's got 4 hits in a row. It's probably not a bad bet. That'd be 5 in a row. And then if you think he's going to get a hit, then you can kind of start playing with somebody else. Well, is somebody else going to run? So that's a pitcher. Let's see. Here we go. These guys jive together. Now, what about home runs? Negatively disposed. RBIs, negative relationship, and Mart hadn't had one in a while. What about strikeouts? Not correlated. Total bases, negatively correlated. So Kettle Mart's not probably a good idea there. Adriendo looks pretty good there. Negative 0.2, huh? Okay. Let's see if he... Nope. Negatively signed there. Yeah, lots of negative relationships. So again, I won't go into too much of this. That looks like a not very related. We got 2 that at the same time here. But again, you can kind of play with like putting these different players on here. We're adding pitcher and batter relationships here. And then up here we do have what's actually going in today. I saw the mock-up of it today, earlier this morning on a team call. So we're going in with our defensive ratings against the hitters like we do for basketball. So if we go to basketball, you will see something similar to maybe what we see. Let me show you a cool basketball one. Let's go to points. that I put in earlier. Let's see, what game was it? It was, yeah, it was this one. And no, it's Cleveland. Sorry. Okay, so we got 2 B plus grades here on points. So we got Schroeder going over 5, and we got Keon Ellis going over 3. So again, what I was just trying to show you is that we're going to be putting in the defensive ratings like we have here by position group. So we have a pitcher and what the pitcher allows, and then again up against the hitting, and then we have hitting up against, you know, how many hits these teams typically get versus what the pitcher gives up. So they'll be going into effect here in the next day or so, maybe by the end of the day, definitely over the weekend for MLB, where you'll be able to see the defense, the pitching, hitting specific descriptive chart on the trends here on MLB, just like that. You'll have the different models again, and then you'll have Schroeder. Okay, so your player. So back to Cleveland here, we got Schroeder going over 4.5, and we had Keon Ellis going over as well. So I wanted to say, are they correlated? If they're uncorrelated, then I might choose one as opposed to parlay both of them. But it turns out that they are positively correlated at 0.555, and they are both likely tonight. So again, B plus grade, 81%. He goes over 4.5. Last game was over. Before that was just slightly under, but pretty much been over most of the time here. And then if we go look at Ellis, again, 80% probability going over. He's been under the last game, but was over most of that period with at least 2. So we're going over 2.5 tonight. I think he was actually 1.5 earlier, and that's the one I put in. Over 1.5 was his line. So his lines moved. Put him in at over 1.5 with Dennis Schroeder. Schroeder's also supposed to have some assists, so we can look at Schroeder, and we can look at his assists. And he's got an A- grade on assists. So you can then take a look at Schroeder's assists, maybe. And if you wanted to see, okay, well, if he's going to get assists, maybe that means somebody else is going to score more. Will Wade score more because of Schroeder assists? We don't have enough data points to make any definitive conclusion on that. So let's take Wade out. Mobley, uncorrelated. Points. Those are correlated, 0.55. So you could see, Schroeder assists, Schroeder points, and Keon Ellis points. Those 3 are all highly correlated. Because if we just change this, it's going to stay at 0.55. And what if we took Schroeder points and assists? Yep. Okay. So they're still pretty highly correlated, and both of them are. Okay, let's see if we got anything else. Oh, pitching. I think there were some pitching matchups today that were decent. Any trends? All grades, reset, batting. Let's just go with pitching. Okay, here we go. All right. Anytime nothing shows up, just hit this reset button and then make sure your filters and your sort will all reset, and you can change how you want to do it. We can go trends only. There's no trends on pitching. So we got 2 B plus grades, we got strikeouts, and we got outs for the same pitcher. Everything else is a C grade. So let's take a look at Peyton Tolley. Last 20 games, pretty much not many strikeouts. Under pretty significantly. We're thinking he's going under again. Our PVP line is under. Our project, see, this is slit to under. See, he's got 0% chance of going over. He's got an under here. Pitcher strikeouts, we don't have the data here. Do we have outs? Okay. I'll have to check that bug, why we don't have that data going. But yeah, I think it's a plus 106 to go under 4.5. So I don't know. I mean, it's his first start this year, so maybe he's a lot better. Right? So based on his previous history, not looking to go over 5 strikeouts today. And then if we look at outs, under as well. So he gets pulled early from his games. I hope this has been helpful. Again, if you have more questions about how to use the player selector, I think a good if you have opportunity right now, a good game to play with is Atlanta and the Nationals. You got Acuna Jr., Dominic Smith, Baldwin, Harris, Olsen, Riley. Yeah, I mean Riley. I was playing with him this morning too, so I think if you put him in for runs scored, and then Acuna Jr. and then Olsen maybe. There's a Riley and Acuna Jr. have a .66. Olsen and Jr. have no relationship, but Olsen sometimes hits in Acuna maybe because Olsen getting an RBI and him scoring a run are .38. So almost 40% of the time when Matt Olson has an RBI, Acuna has a run. Doesn't mean that Olsen's hitting Acuna in. It's just that kind of fuzzy relationship between he gets a run every time Matt Olson gets an RBI. This could just as easily be a home run, though, because a lot of his RBIs are home runs, and we get 30%. So kind of interesting. But you got a Riley Acuna Jr. over here for .66. So, again, explore this relationship. Tell me how it's working for you. Let me know how it's going in terms of, putting 2 and 3 different guys that are correlated in some way with different combos of player prop combinations, and how you're using the tool. And if you think there's anything else we could add to the tool, or there's another way to kind of think about visualizing the tool, let us know. All right. So have a good NFL draft day. Go Pats. Hopefully we pick up some good guys. Have a good MLB day. Hopefully the Braves win. It was 2-2 when I got on here. Hopefully it's either still 2-2 or they're up. And although I needed Wood from the Nationals to get a hit. And then last but not least, have a fun NBA playoffs tonight with the Nuggets and the Wolves going at it. And checking out all those different player props. So appreciate your time. Thanks a lot, guys.